My name is Ben Schlappig. I'm a full-time travel blogger, and I live in hotels full-time, so I'm constantly on the road. So my family's from Germany, and I lived in New York growing up, so we would always fly back and forth in summer between the US and Germany, and we'd always do it in economy. And over time, I kind of realized that there might be a better way to do it, that I could kind of accrue miles more cheaply than what that economy ticket was costing us, and then we could redeem those for first class. So that's kind of where the obsession started. So kind of over time, airlines have fare sales in markets which aren't selling well. So for example, airfare is extremely cheap out of Colombo, Sri Lanka, and out of Cairo, Egypt. So I start a lot of my flying in those places, and then I'll basically fly backwards, where I'm booking tickets from Cairo to the US rather than the other way around, even though I spend most of my time in the US. So it's kind of identifying the markets that have the cheapest fares. So I focus largely, for example, on award travel, so redeeming miles for tickets. And often when an airline starts a new route, there's a lot of award space on that flight. It obviously takes an airline a while to build up a market, to get the passenger loads where they want them. And as a result, kind of when an airline starts a new flight, they'll often make quite a bit of award space available because those seats would be empty otherwise, and they'll often then just give them to frequent flyers who are redeeming miles for those seats. So for Hong Kong-based travelers, I think kind of look at the different options you have for where to credit your miles. So for example, if you're flying Cathay Pacific, they have a good frequent flyer program, but there are other places you can credit those miles to as well. So for example, you might earn more miles if you're crediting that flight to American Airlines, for example, or to British Airways. So kind of look at the different airlines where you can credit your miles. Yes, over about a decade probably, using these tricks, I've never kind of paid the full fare cost of the tickets I've flown. Well, so I was crunching the numbers earlier on how much my travel this year alone would have cost if I were just the full retail cost. And it was close to $1 million US at retail for this year alone. So multiply that times 10, potentially, that's not cheap. In terms of crazy trips, I once did 6 trans-Pacific flights in 5 days. I once went to Brazil 8 times in 9 days. I'd say those are the most extreme, but I've certainly been on just month-long, constant round-the-world journeys. That's pretty much my normal life, I guess. So probably my favorite city in the world is Hong Kong. My favorite kind of relaxation destination is Bali. And then I also love New Zealand, just for the scenery, the landscape. I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. But Hong Kong is my favorite city, and I would move here in a heartbeat.
Why don't you?
Hong Kong's also very expensive, as I've learned the hard way many times. But I'm tempted to move here sometime. The truth is I travel here so much that I almost feel at times like I do sort of live here.